turn. Present on.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we've held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land and of the free, and the home of the brave.
Order on. Colors. Colors turn.
Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. My name is Bobby Talibian, and I'm the Director of the Office of Information Policy. I'd like to welcome everyone to the department's annual celebration of Sunshine Week. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us today in person and via live stream in our early kickoff celebration. Enacted in 1966, the Freedom of Information Act has been fundamental to ensuring that the public has access to government information, a centerpiece of our democracy. As the Supreme Court has recognized, the basic purpose of the FOIA is to ensure an informed citizenry vital to the functioning of a democratic society. The Department of Justice's FOIA guidelines also recognize this, stressing that FOIA reflects our nation's fundamental commitment to open government. Over the course of more than 50 years, the public's use of the FOIA has increased, and the law, as well as agencies' implementation of the law, have adapted to better serve the public. Just this past fiscal year, the government overall responded to an unprecedented number of FOIA requests. Leading these efforts, of course, at each agency is the agency chief FOIA officer. This morning, I'm pleased and very honored to introduce to you the government's highest-ranking chief FOIA officer, Ms. Claire Murray, the Principal Deputy Associate Attorney General of the United States. As Principal Deputy Associate Attorney General, Ms. Murray oversees several of the department's litigation and policy-making components. Before rejoining the department in 2009, Ms. Murray served as Special Assistant to the President and Associate Counsel to the President of the United States. Prior to that, Ms. Murray was a litigation and appellate partner with the law firm of Kirkland & Ellis, where her practice focused on complex commercial litigation, constitutional litigation, and internal investigations. Ms. Murray is a graduate of Yale Law School, and after law school, clerked for Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, and then Judge Brett Kavanaugh of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. Ms. Murray, thank you so much for joining us and supporting our event today.
Thank you so much, Bobby, for that kind introduction. The leadership of the department feels so lucky to have you at the helm of the Office of Information Policy. There are really not that many people in the world who could fill the very big, but also very small and very stylish shoes of the great Melanie Poustet. Welcome to all of you to the Department of Justice's 2020 Sunshine Week kickoff event. As many of you know, this coming Monday is the birthday of President James Madison. Madison is widely regarded as the founding father of open government, so it's a fitting tribute to him that we celebrate Sunshine Week concurrently with his birthday. In the classical tradition, democracy is the regime under which citizens rule and are ruled in turn. It's the regime of self-government. Participation in self-government fosters the virtues of fortitude, self-reliance, and practical wisdom that are key characteristics of the American experiment. And it was Madison who recognized the fundamental importance of information in cultivating the engaged citizenry necessary to the maintenance of a healthy republic. In 1782, Madison famously wrote, "A popular government without popular information or the means of acquiring it is but a prologue to a farce or a tragedy, or perhaps both. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives." Today, the Freedom of Information Act provides access to information at a speed and volume that President Madison could hardly have imagined. In 1966, Congress enacted in FOIA a revolutionary right of access to government records. It required the government, or at least the executive branch, to apply a presumption of disclosure to its own records, and made that presumption rebuttable only when those records fall within one of FOIA's defined exemptions. The result is that each year the federal government releases literally millions of documents, colossal amounts of data, to American citizens. That information allows the American people greater visibility into how their government is working, and it is often said that it makes the government more accountable. True enough, but Madison would also recognize that the FOIA is a tool that can be harnessed in service of a wiser and more studied citizenry, and hence a more statesman-like government by the people. Today marks the 10th anniversary of the Department of Justice's Sunshine Week event. So it's an appropriate time to honor the FOIA professionals and leaders joining us both here and via live stream across the country. The work that goes on between request and response requires more skill and more perseverance than most citizens, and even most government officials outside this room realize. That's why I'm proud to celebrate your tireless commitment to meeting the many challenges involved in administering FOIA. Quite simply, FOIA's promises would be meaningless without dedicated public servants like you working every day to make them a reality. Just this past fiscal year, as Bobby alluded, the government received over 850,000 FOIA requests. In response, we processed over 875,000 requests, responding to a wide range of requesters, including news media organizations, advocacy organizations, academic scholars, and ordinary citizens interested in their government. And yeah, you heard those numbers right. We as a government made inroads on our FOIA backlog last year, which I was expecting that to be an applause line in this room, but no. From the perspective of the average citizen, it may be tempting to assume that answering FOIA requests is a straightforward and easy process. But just because information might possibly exist somewhere in government records, doesn't necessarily mean it can be easily found, plucked off the shelf, and shipped in a tidy package to the requester, far from it. Requesters often seek numerous and varied types of records, which require searches in multiple locations. Once located, those often voluminous records must be carefully reviewed. While FOIA requires a presumption of disclosure, the law also recognizes important exemptions to this presumption. Exemptions necessary to protect our national security, the privacy of our fellow citizens, and the functioning of our law enforcement. Failing to properly apply those exemptions risks causing serious harm to the nation. But by the same token, improperly asserting those exemptions risks thwarting the FOIA's goal of promoting transparency. So FOIA professionals must carefully examine millions of pages of records to apply each of the FOIA's exemptions meticulously before authorizing them for release. It is, by necessity, a laborious process. And the work of government FOIA professionals has become even more challenging in the past few years. FOIA requests continue to increase in both volume and complexity. Simultaneously, an increase in nearly immediate litigation brought by some savvy frequent requesters strains our FOIA officials in their valiant efforts to respond to every request in a timely way. Our FOIA professionals must be commended for redoubling their efforts to serve ordinary citizens, even as litigation on the part of the well-funded pushes ordinary citizens to the end of the queue. So thank you for everything you have done. Please know that we appreciate you and all of your work on behalf of the American people. Later on in the program, we'll have a chance to recognize the outstanding work of some of our colleagues across the agencies. But before we do that, I'd like to say a few words about and on behalf of our DOJ FOIA professionals in particular. Here at the Department of Justice, we take seriously our unique responsibility to encourage government-wide compliance with FOIA. I take no credit for OIP's accomplishments, but I do take great pride in serving as the department's chief FOIA officer and in working with Bobby and OIP to ensure that our FOIA programs are equipped to handle the department's FOIA responsibilities. The department is completely committed to providing agencies with a range of resources and counsel to assist you in your FOIA administration. OIP's work over the past year bears that out. Just this past October, OIP completed a full update to the Department of Justice's Guide to the FOIA, a comprehensive treatise on FOIA that is widely relied upon by agencies and the public. If you've ever seen a copy, like a print copy, of the Guide to the FOIA, you'll understand what a massive undertaking that was. The department also continues to provide essential FOIA training to thousands of agency FOIA professionals each year, as well as issuing detailed guidance on both the procedural and substantive aspects of the law. OIP is making good use of evolving technology and meeting the demands of the FOIA. For example, the department has recently piloted and is exploring more advanced tools that can further assist FOIA professionals through the use of artificial intelligence. Another effort I'd like to highlight today is the continued work of the department on the National FOIA portal launched during Sunshine Week 2018. FOIA.gov continues to serve as a central resource on the federal government's administration of FOIA. This past year, the government has worked with fellow agencies on achieving interoperability with the portal. In addition, the department continues to welcome both public and agency feedback on the site and to make improvements based on those comments. The department also deployed a new annual FOIA report tool on FOIA.gov for agencies, which helps reduce agency burden and improves data quality. Through these advances, OIP continues to advance Congress's vision in ways that would have made President Madison proud. In conclusion, we look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure that our administration of the FOIA continues to improve and that our government is held to the highest standards. Thank you all, and have a very bright Sunshine Week.
Thank you so much, Ms. Murray, for your very encouraging and kind words and unwavering support for the department's and the government's overall FOIA administration. And thank you again for taking the time to be part of our ceremony. In the face of increasing demand, agencies across the government continue to look for and implement new forward-thinking and innovative ways to improve FOIA administration and make information available to the public. At the Department of Justice, we continue to encourage government-wide compliance through a number of ways, including our guidance and ensuring and working with agencies to meet their FOIA reporting obligations. I'm pleased to share that all 118 agencies subject to the FOIA finalized their fiscal year 2019 annual FOIA reports, and all that data is now available on FOIA.gov. Also being posted this and next week are agency chief FOIA officer reports, which detail efforts agencies have undertaken since last Sunshine Week to improve FOIA administration in 5 key areas: applying a presumption of openness, the importance of having effective systems to respond to requests, proactive disclosures, utilizing technology, and improving timeliness and reducing backlogs. Across the government, the 2020 Chief FOIA Officer reports detail a range of success stories, which I will briefly highlight in a moment, but I encourage everyone to take a look at these reports to learn about all the achievements around agencies across the government. Agencies in particular can look to these reports to leverage successful strategies and best practices of their colleague agencies. As in prior years, the department also looks forward to issuing our own summary and assessment of these reports. Before we present the 2020 FOIA Awards, I would like to take a moment to briefly highlight some of the initial FOIA statistics we talked about today in the annual reports, as well as OIP's work, and the accomplishments achieved by agencies as reported in the Chief FOIA Officer reports. So I'll direct you briefly to our brief slideshow presentation. So as mentioned, agencies received and processed a unprecedented high number of requests this year. which resulted in a number of agencies being able to report backlog reduction. That includes 89 agencies that reported backlogs of fewer than 100 requests, and 64 agencies that reported a backlog decrease and no backlog at all by the end of the fiscal year 2019. OIP also continued to support and encourage agency compliance with the FOIA through the numerous activities Ms. Murray was so kind to mention, including our counseling, our individual counseling, our training courses, and the issuance of policy guidance. Just recently, OIP issued guidance on Exemption 4 after the Supreme Court's decision in Food Marketing Institute versus Argus Leader, providing implementation guidance to agencies on the new standard of Exemption 4 and the definition of confidential. In addition to that guidance, in order to assist agencies in further implementing the new standard, OIP created a 3-step guide for easy use and access by agency FOIA professionals. Apologize, there seems to be a brief delay in when the slides are moving. Agencies should continue to contact OIP if they have any questions about that guidance or any questions about applying Exemption 4. OIP also issued guidance based off of the 2019 Chief FOIA Officer reports and our review and assessment of those reports, including posting raw data from the annual FOIA report and steps to be taken to improve timeliness and reduce backlogs. We also continue to provide the Department of Justice's guide to the FOIA on our website. It was completely, as Ms. Murray mentioned, completely updated in 2019 and now being regularly updated in 2020 on a rolling basis. And we continue to enhance FOIA.gov. Established in 2011 as a dashboard for annual FOIA report data, we immediately began adding features to it. In 2018, we're very proud to launch the National FOIA portal and continue that work this year. We're excited to, in the coming weeks, to launch a redesign of the data page of FOIA.gov to improve the reporting features into a single, intuitive, mobile-friendly interface that will allow users to retrieve, filter, and download annual FOIA data from any agency. We continue to provide a wealth of other resources for agencies on our website, including summaries of recent decisions, best practices that are used across agencies, training material that agencies can use, as well as the FOIA self-assessment toolkit that any agency could use to assess any part of their FOIA program. As I mentioned, the agency Chief FOIA Officer reports provide a range of success stories across agencies in 5 key areas of FOIA administration, and I briefly wanted to touch upon those before we proceed to our 2020 award ceremony. Agencies report continuing to conduct outreach with the requester community proactively in advance of FOIA requests being made. Some agencies are doing this by engaging their frequent requesters to discuss the best ways that requests can be tailored to more effectively and efficiently respond to requests. Some agencies have reported engaging and connecting requesters to program personnel that can help explain the information the agency has to either obviate the need for a request or provide the requester the opportunity to provide a more targeted request. Agencies also continue to report continually assessing their FOIA programs to make improvements through either self-assessments or formal assessments, and making improvements such as updating acknowledgement and response letter templates, revising internal processes and procedural manuals, conducting frequent audits of the status of requests, analyzing inter-report data and other metrics to identify requests, and enforcing mandatory annual FOIA report training. Agencies also continue to increase and provide proactive disclosures on their websites in the forms and formats that are most useful to their community of users. For example, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau posts de-identified narratives about consumer products such as mortgages, banks, credit cards that can be filtered by different categories such as date, company, complaint. The Federal Election Commission updated its open government page to provide a wealth of new information about campaign finance. The Department of Health and Human Services, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration posted data sets relating to the 2017-2018 National Survey on Drug Use and Health in a variety of multiple formats, open formats. The National Endowment for Humanities improved their search functionality on their FOIA website to make their site more user-friendly and easier to access records. And the U.S. Postal Service introduced U.S. Mail Journey, an interactive website designed to help employers, customers, and others understand the mail system and the gap that's bridged between digital and physical communication. The American Battle Monuments Commission posts lesson plans, battlefield 3D visualizations, and interactive battle maps. And finally, NASA continues to post science news, postcasts, and final research results for members of the public. Agencies are also continue to focus on using technology. More and more agencies are reporting improving interoperability between the different technology stacks they're using to administer FOIA and connecting their technology to their records management systems. Agencies are also more and more reporting using or piloting e-discovery tools and more automated case management systems. And more now we're seeing smaller volume agencies that previously weren't using this type of technology starting to use it now for their more complex requests. Building on these advanced tools, agencies such as the Department of Justice and GSA have also been exploring even more advanced technologies that utilize artificial intelligence to further refine and improve the search and review process. Agencies are also continuing to focus in their Chief FOIA Officer reports on timeliness and backlogs. And several agencies reported backlog reduction efforts with significant results this past year. The Department of Homeland Security, Department of Veteran Affairs, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EPA, and the National Transportation Safety Board reported the highest reductions in backlog reduction, some reporting thousands of requests reduced. And many smaller volume agencies proportionally have reduced their request backlog by 50% or more. As agencies continue to work in 2020 and 2021 to improve their FOIA administration and respond to the demand of FOIA requests, OIP remains committed to helping support agencies as they strive to increase dialogue and outreach with the FOIA requester community, streamline office workflows to improve effectiveness and efficiency, improve proactive disclosures, and seek out implement advances in technology. Of course, at the heart of all of these agency achievements are all the FOIA professionals who work hard every day to administer this important law. It is the FOIA professionals who regularly communicate with requesters, do the nitty-gritty work of conducting searches and reviewing millions of pages of records, and who find the ways to improve their processes so they can achieve FOIA's full purposes. The department has long recognized the critical importance of FOIA professionals who are responsible for the day-to-day implementation of the FOIA, and I'm consistently inspired by the commitment they bring to their job every day. They are truly at the core of the critical public service that agencies provide the public in administering the FOIA. In presenting the 2020 Sunshine Week Awards with Principal Deputy Associate Attorney General Murray, I am pleased to have the opportunity to acknowledge a small representative of the many exceptional public servants who work in FOIA. We have 5 award categories today. In this year, our first of the 5 award categories is for outstanding contributions by a new employee. This award recognizes exceptional performance and notable contributions in carrying out the agency's FOIA responsibilities by a new employee with fewer than 3 years of work in FOIA. We have 2 awards in this category. Our first award goes to Ms. Krista Chugunda from the Food and Drug Administration. Ms. Kujunda joined FDA's FOIA team in 2018, coming highly recommended by her current supervisor and each previous supervisor. She's a critical thinker who pays close attention to process improvements and takes necessary steps to enhance FOIA's procedures. She is proactive, resourceful, and excellent teacher and thoughtful communicator. She is thorough, thinks ahead of the time and what may come next, and strategizes innovative solutions. Mr. Njugo, thank you for your outstanding service. You're welcome. Our second award in this category goes to Ms. Maggie Scalette from the U.S. Citizen Immigration Services. Ms. Scalette began her FOIA career as a government information specialist in December 2017. Her work processing FOIA requests contributes substantially to the USCIS FOIA program. During the fourth quarter of fiscal year 19, Ms. Scalette processed over 209,000 pages of agency records. Furthermore, within her first 9 months, she responded to over 1,500 FOIA requests that consisted over 440,000 pages. This equates roughly to 5% of USCIS's backlog reduction in fiscal year 19. Ms. Scalette could not be here with us in person today, but we'd like to thank her for outstanding service. Our next category of awards is for exceptional service by a FOIA professional. This award recognizes exemplary performance and exceptional contributions by a FOIA professional in carrying out the agency's administration of the FOIA. We have 2 awards in this category. Our first award in this category goes to Mr. Alan Engels, a FOIA officer from the Environmental Protection Agency's Region 8 office. Mr. Engels is a proven leader in the FOIA program who gets results. He finds creative solutions to improve EPA's response to FOIA requests. In addition to his work in Region 8, Mr. Engel also takes initiative to actively support EPA's National FOIA Office as well as other regional national programs. Mr. Engel, thank you for your exceptional service. Our second award in this category goes to Mr. Brian May from the FOIA Office, the Department of the Interior, United States Geological Survey. Mr. May's nomination was supported by both the Department of Interior and a member of the requester community. Under Mr. May's leadership, the United States Geological Service team is efficient, timely, and communicative with requesters. He has been able to personally facilitate proactive disclosures of information and guide requesters to publicly available information, obviating the need for a formal request. Joining us in recognizing Mr. May is Ms. Rachel Spector from the Department of Interior. Mr. May, thank you for your exceptional service. Our third award category is for exceptional service by a team of FOIA professionals. This award recognizes exemplary performance and exceptional contributions by a team of FOIA professionals in carrying out the agency's administration of the FOIA. We have 1 award in this category this year, which goes to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's FOIA team. This past year, the EEOC FOIA team developed and successfully implemented a backlog reduction plan that included a multi-pronged approach. Some actions taken included increasing hiring, improving training, and implementing bi-weekly backlog meetings between agency components and the newly established backlog reduction team. These efforts resulted in a very impressive 91% reduction in EEOC's request backlog and significant improvements in average processing times. Joining us in recognizing the EEOC FOIA team is Ms. Carol Mieszkow. We thank the EEOC team for their exceptional service to the administration of the FOIA. Our next award category is for exceptional advancements in the area of IT to improve FOIA administration. This award recognizes exceptional achievements in greater utilizing technology to make information more accessible, and we have 2 awards in this category. The first award in this category goes to Ms. Tammy Meckley of the United States Customs and Immigration Services FOIA Office. Under Ms. Meckley's leadership, USCIS launched its end-to-end digital FOIA immigration record system known as FIRST. FIRST enables online submission, online case management, in electronic processing and digital delivery of FOIA responses. Since the deployment of FIRST, USCIS FOIA processors have substantially increased productivity, and the solution has contributed to the impressive 64% backlog reduction of USCIS in FY19. Ms. Meckley, thank you so much for your exceptional achievement. Our second award in this category goes to the Veteran Health Administration Central FOIA Office. This past year, VHA implemented an agency-wide modernization of FOIA processing and IT software. This modernization enabled VHA's over 360 FOIA professionals to transform their processes from relying to at least 6 IT platforms to 1. The streamlining of technology VHA uses for FOIA and records management required a great deal of coordination and cooperation among a myriad of stakeholders throughout the entire Department of Veterans Affairs. These changes by this team has provided enhanced service to the requester community and improved records management and FOIA processing at VHA. Joining us in recognizing VHA's FOIA team is Mr. Michael Sarich. Congratulations and thank you for your exceptional service. Our next award category this year, and our final award today, is for Lifetime Service in FOIA Administration. The Lifetime Service Award recognizes those professionals with at least 20 years of work in FOIA who have demonstrated high standards of excellence and dedication to the administration of FOIA throughout their career. This year, our Lifetime Service Award goes to Ms. Jill Eggleston. Ms. Eggleston is a devoted FOIA professional with more than 20 years of service, first at the Defense Finance Accounting Service, and then at the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service. As Associate Director of the National Records Center at USCIS, she supervises over 230 information access professionals. During her tenure, USCIS has responded to more than 1.6 million FOIA requests. Ms. Eggleston standardizes practices and collaborates with other federal agencies to ensure that the public has effective and efficient access to records. She was also instrumental in developing the DHS's new end-to-end fully digital FOIA processing system. Ms. Eggleston could not be here with us in person today, but we want to thank her for exceptional lifetime service in the administration of FOIA. I want to thank all the award recipients for their many contributions to FOIA administration. Through their efforts and the efforts of thousands of FOIA professionals across the government, each day we are furthering the FOIA's purpose in making information more readily available to the public. Sunshine Week is an opportunity to reflect on these accomplishments as we continue to explore how we may further realize FOIA's goals in the upcoming year. As we briefly highlighted today, agencies are taking steps to refine their FOIA processes, improve technology, and make more information available in new ways. Behind all these efforts, of course, are the dedicated FOIA professionals and leaders across the government who bring steadfast commitment to their everyday work, as well as a vision for continually improving FOIA administration, which should inspire us all. I'd like to thank everyone for coming to our event today. This concludes our event, and I wish everyone a happy Sunshine Week. Thank you.